Jillian, it's unbelievable. The White House beat will be the quietest the day before Election Day. Jillian Turner, thanks so much. Hey, let's bring in Harris campaign surrogate, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, to respond. Senator, how do you feel about Axios calling her the no-comment candidate when it comes to this issue in particular on Prop 36 out in California?
Well, to me, the two candidates' positions on immigration are crystal clear. Kamala Harris has endorsed a very specific, detailed piece of legislation. That's the bipartisan border security bill that I negotiated with very conservative Republican James Lankford that would dramatically increase investment on the border. It would allow the president to shut down the border when crossings got too high. It would fix our broken asylum system so that, nobody gets to stay in this country for 5 or 10 years where their asylum claim is being processed. Donald Trump killed that bill, even though it was supported by conservative Republicans and the Border Patrol. I don't know about California's ballot questions. I live in Connecticut, but I'm just saying this idea that people don't know what Kamala Harris is for on immigration is just not true. She supports a very specific piece of legislation that Donald Trump opposes.
Well, can I just show you, just on Prop 36, it's pretty specific. They're essentially going to put in hard criminal, stop the penalties, stop being easy on the criminal, be tougher on crime, make shoplifting a felony, increase penalties for drug charges, sentences for selling certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine, make them tougher, require warnings of possible murder charges for selling or providing drugs. So if you want to be tough on crime, why not just say how you voted there?
Yeah, I heard what she said at the outset of the show, that she's not interested in, weighing in on a California ballot measure. She's running for president of the United States. And, you can compare the two candidates' records on immigration. There are less people crossing at the border today than during Donald Trump's presidency. But you can also compare their records on crime. Crime shot up when Donald Trump was president. At the end of Donald Trump's presidency, we were less safe. Crime has come down under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Do you really think you have a
strong argument there from the party that gave you to fund the police? You got to be kidding me. Who's tougher on crime,
100%.
Trump or her?
100%. But look at the data, right? Crime has come down. We have 20% fewer urban homicides.
They revamped their crime stats, and they went up to 4.2% increase.
That's not true. Urban gun homicides have come down in this country by 20%. Mass shootings are 20% fewer this year than last year. It is just absolutely true that there are fewer gun homicides in this country. And I know that that's inconvenient, but that is the truth.
Senator, you know what's the truth? You have an opportunity to show you're tough on crime by saying, I back the ballot measure that shows the folly of the easy on crime policies that she was a part of, but she says, that's not up to me. I also want you to hear she does not answer that question. She also didn't answer these questions.
Are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
So why wouldn't she use that opportunity to explain her change in that opportunity? For example, on transgender surgeries for criminals, illegal aliens in prison, I'll follow the law. Why not use that opportunity to say, I would not pay for that? Because that's not where the American people are at.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting to me is that, estimates are that like 40% of all of Trump's ads are about transgender kids. As if that's the biggest threat to this country. I mean, I heard folks on your previous segment talking about grocery prices, but that's not what. Yeah, but that's not what most people care about in this country. They care about prices. They care about public safety. They don't think that 40% of the conversation in this campaign should be about transgender kids. And as for the border wall, listen, I'm fine with building some additional border wall, but we had funding in that bipartisan border bill to put thousands of new border agents. More.
I know, but there was a huge problem. You guys were
and Donald Trump opposed
you did a great
it.
Listen, I think it was great that you three worked on that with Sinema, but it was a starting point. And you had 8 people, Democrats in Congress, in the Senate, weren't going to vote for it, and they didn't allow any amendments. But having said that, that's got to be something that people share if you're going to do immigration reform. But I'm just going to add to this. The Senate is something you also care about. Jamie Raskin on with Bill Maher over the weekend and talked about if they get the majority, if you get the majority, what will happen. Even though he's in the House, this is his focus.
We're stuck with another anti-democratic mechanism, which is the filibuster on the Senate side. So we got to deal with that, too. But I think that's what this campaign is about. When we say we're defending democracy against the autocrats, the plutocrats, the theocrats, the dictators and the despots, it's a little bit deceptive because it implies that democracy is just a static collection of institutions and rules. Actually, democracy, as Lincoln knew, is an unfinished project. It's always in motion.
He says the focus for him and the party are making Puerto Rico a state, blowing up the filibuster, and getting rid of the Electoral College. Do you share in that mission?
Well, Kamala Harris is going to speak for herself. I mean, of course, every Democrat has their own set of priorities. But, yeah, when it comes to the filibuster, here's what I think we should do. I think we should go back to the old-fashioned talking filibuster. If you want to filibuster a bill, then stand up there and have the courage to explain why you're against it. I mean, I don't know that Republicans would filibuster an increase in the minimum wage if they had to stand up there and explain why they want people
what about making
to
Puerto
make
Rico
less
a
money.
state?
I'm not sure.
But what about, do you want Go ahead.
Has Kamala Harris said that that's part of her platform? I mean, you can debate individual members of Congress's priorities, or we can spend the last 24 hours of this campaign talking about the differences between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. They are the two people that everybody in this country are going to be voting for. And Kamala Harris's agenda is to grow this economy from the middle out, make our streets safer, work on bipartisan immigration reform. Donald Trump's agenda in these final few days of the campaign seems to be to divide us from each other, to talk about his massive tax cut for billionaires, and to
he doesn't have massive tax cut for
in this really divisive rhetoric.
But he doesn't have that's what she said.
85% of his tax cut that he passed in his first term went to the top 1% of income
No, it
earners.
didn't. I know it didn't. The people that benefited most were the middle class.
For the rest of us.
Senator, the numbers don't lie. The people that benefited most from the tax cut is the middle class. And now you have an opportunity to renew those tax cuts because they're they're going to expire.
Yeah, that's just not true. 80+% of that tax cut went to the very, very wealthy. The corporations got a bigger tax cut than they'd even ever imagined. And by the time Donald Trump was done as president, our economy was in free fall. This president, Joe Biden, with Kamala Harris, have created more jobs than any president in the history of the country in their first 4 years.
They were lost during the pandemic. If you count the numbers lost during the pandemic, a once-in-a-lifetime.
A pandemic that Donald Trump badly mismanaged.
More people died under Biden with a vaccine than died under Trump without one.
Yeah,
But
listen, my folks in Connecticut care about creating jobs. They care about manufacturing jobs. And what we've seen is a renaissance of manufacturing jobs in this country in the last few years. And we got to do better. We got to do more. And we frankly have to find a way to bring Republicans and Democrats together around a real industrial agenda. And I just think it's much more likely that happens.
We just don't know what the vice president stands for.
Happens under Kamala Harris. Than under Donald Trump, who was never able to bring Republicans and Democrats together, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, have you seen Joe Biden do that? All right.
I've seen him do it on infrastructure. I've seen him do it on guns. I've seen him do it on infrastructure, on industrial policy over and over and over again. Joe Biden was able to pass significant bipartisan legislation.
He ends with 40% approval rating. Donald Trump said 47. We're going to see what's going to happen in 24 hours. Senator Murphy, thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
All right. Meanwhile, straight ahead.